Good afternoon and good morning. It's Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. Welcome back to our Brand Stories edition of the Leaders in Customer Loyalty podcast. It's a Thursday and it's great to have you with us. Founded in 2003 in a University of Pennsylvania dorm room, Insomnia Cookies began when founder Seth Berkowitz started delivering warm cookies to fellow students. In 2004, the first physical location was opened in Syracuse, New York. It was strategically placed near a college campus, and it continues to serve the late-night cravings of those college students. And today, as the competition in the retail cookie space grows, aka the comfort food industry, Insomnia Cookies continues to deliver the same high-quality brand experience and amazing cookies. While the brand remains focused on the college crowd, it has expanded its reach through creative promotions like the PJ Party, which sounds fun to me, where loyalty program members can unlock exclusive experiences on the day of the event, and the only thing they have to do is show up in PJs. Insomnia Cookies is also leveraging social media to build community and deepen connections with its growing legion of fans. Joining us today is David Salama. He's the Chief Digital Officer at Insomnia Cookies. He's going to share insights into the passionate fan base, the rapid growth of the loyalty program to over 1.2 million customers in just over a year, and most importantly, reveal Insomnia Cookies' most popular ice cream flavor. David, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this discussion. First off, for those who may not be familiar, can you give us a brief introduction to Insomnia Cookies? How's the company started, and what's led to the great success?
Sure. Insomnia Cookies is a late night indulgence brand, and we offer warm, delicious cookies and sort of this like uniquely wonderful ice cream, our own ice cream. We have about 350 locations, and we're in the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. The company was started in 2003 by Seth Berkowitz. At the time, he was a student at the University of Pennsylvania, and he was struck by sort of this like dearth of late night options, specifically on the sweet side, right? And so, he was playing video games with his roommates, and for like the fifth time that night, the pizza delivery guy came, and he just got like so frustrated. He's like, there's got to be something better here. Like, there's got to be something that's warm and delicious and sweet, and like really hits that craving. And so he actually started baking the cookies right there at his dorm room, running around the campus, making deliveries while the cookies were baking, then running back. And from there, the concept really took off. We've grown pretty steadily throughout the years, and now we're at the point where we're growing about 20% every single year,
That's awesome.
with a goal of growing to about 1,800 locations.
Okay, great. That is awesome. You talked a little bit about what led to the great success. It seems like that late night indulgence, especially in college towns, is very apropos. Are there the cookie business competitor? There's a number of different cookie entities out. How do you guys compete, and how do you guys differentiate with some of those other brands?
So Insomnia has always resonated with sort of our core demographic, and you mentioned it, college. We started really as a college brand, and we're expanding more into more urban areas and now suburban areas as well. But at our core, what we offer our customers is a late night fun option, but it's also sort of warm and classic in a way that I think provide sort of warm moments for our customers. And so that's really sort of the that element that we really hit on and that really resonates with our customers, especially like college kids as they're sort of exerting their independence for the first time. They're out late, but there's a part of them that still wants that something that's warm and nostalgic and makes them feel sort of comfortable and almost like they're sort of back at home, but while they're sort of out there on their own. And when we hit on that, and when we can really deliver upon that experience, that's when we can really make a very strong connection with that customer, and those connections can last years.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role with Insomnia Cookies and what you do as your day to day, and maybe what you like, maybe what you don't like as much?
Sure. So I'm the Chief Digital Officer here. I joined the company in early 2020. I'm responsible for basically all of our technology teams and projects and initiatives. And so that includes everything that we do for our customer-facing, digital products, our customer-facing technology, our in-store technology, our technology infrastructure, so the hardware and the networking, as well as sort of our data analytics and AI. And so, on a day-to-day basis, it's really trying to push and keep those things really moving. The things that I love is when, I'm out there and I'm able to sort of push on things that are really unique, and innovative and creative and really fit our business in like a very, tailored way. Those moments that are not so great, when you wake up and you turn over and you see your phone that there was this huge AWS outage like there was
Yep.
yesterday, and you're like, your first thought is, oh my God, what's going to happen today? Everything turned out fine. We had very, very few exposure to it, but that's the world of technology. You sort of never know when that next blip is going to happen or that next outage is going to happen, and those can be sort of the most stressful moments of the job.
Okay. And how did you get into the current role? Chief Digital Officer, you're very focused on marketing. Were the roles that you had that kind of led you into customer experience, customer loyalty, kind of in?
Yeah. So I took a sort of a circuitous route here early on in my career. I started out on Wall Street in the financial world, but I had this pining for being able to really create something, and so I sort of moved from that world into digital product, and had worked in digital product for a while. And at one point early on in that journey, I became the lead product person for an innovation lab within sort of a bigger company. And that really gave me that first taste of like trying to find these emerging technology trends and then trying to build these applications of those emerging trends to the core business. From there, I went and I started, my own business, and I did that for several years. And then when I exited that, I had already had sort of a previous relationship with Seth Berkowitz, the founder and CEO here. And initially, I just sort of came and was helping consult and helping them work through some technology issues that they were having. And then that sort of transitioned into a full-time position here.
That's awesome. When you look at your role, what keeps you up at night? What are some of the challenges or opportunities that you're facing within your position, within your role that that you're focused on?
This will sound a little bit weird, but the thing that keeps me up at night is that I don't ever want to be the next blockbuster video. And what I mean by that is, number one, I don't want to be that person that like just whiffed on seeing this big transformational change coming. Or I think even the worst version of that is, that I can see that coming and I wasn't successful in helping our organization sort of move and respond to that in time. And so, what I'm thinking about in the middle of the night is what's sort of emerging in different industries, what's emerging in technology, what are some of the powers that are sort of shifting the foundations of the world in which we operate, and which one of those sort of things are going to actually rise up to be this sort of big wave that washes out, a bunch of people that weren't expecting it, and then helps propel a bunch of companies that were sort of able to read it and ride that wave to sort of a dominant position within the industry. And I spend probably too much of my downtime thinking about things like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a very unique time, as you know, AI and some of the challenges and our opportunities, and also think even how different brands or different individuals are using AI. There's been a number of readings recently in The Economist and the Wall Street Journal just about there's a bifurcation between how brands are using it. Some they believe are going to make them smarter and more successful, and others how they're using AI could be the exact opposite, right? It's going to make individuals more dependent on the technology and potentially less successful. Is that something you're seeing as well as kind of this convergence of all this different tech?
For sure. I mean, AI is definitely one of those things that's sort of a big obsession at this point for everybody, and for me, and trying to understand the dynamics that will sort of unlock the challenges that that will present, the opportunities that that will sort of open up, is, I think something that everybody is trying to figure out. And what I find is that the takes that are all one-sided probably going to be wrong, right? This thing is, this technology and sort of this disruption that's coming is sort of so widespread that you're going to see sort of a little bit of bucket A, a little bit of bucket B, a little bit of bucket C as far as what the impact of those things are. But I think the key is to sort of try to figure out what those biggest disruptors are and where those biggest opportunities are going to sort of open up.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about this a little bit, but since the mid 2000s, the amount of competition in the gourmet space, cookie space, it has grown significantly. You talked about how you're unique. How has your approach to customer loyalty among your fan base helped differentiate your offering?
So for us, we think of our customer loyalty, and we did from sort of day one of when we sort of redesigned and relaunched this program. We think of this as being a core tool that we have that helps us build and strengthen what we refer to as our Insomniac community. And we refer to our Insomniac community as sort of encompassing both our employees and our customers.
Yeah.
And it's a community that's based upon people that sort of love those sweet, indulgent, and warm moments, those late night people, those people that sort of are going all out in everything that they do, and are looking for opportunities to sort of connect and bond with people over these shared great experiences. And so when we went to sort of design our loyalty program, we were trying to not think about it, right, as something that, hey, we just really want to drive more transactions, or we really want to drive bigger tickets or anything like that, right? Those are sort of these short-term things. And if those are not sort of creating a stronger community, then the impact of those will sort of dissipate very quickly. And so for us, it was about starting with this concept of community and connection, and then how can we sort of design our loyalty program as something that encourages and strengthens that. And so, as that relates to sort of our competition, I think for us, the idea that we are constantly aware of that community and investing within that community, that helps lead to the long-term health of the brand. That helps give us the momentum that we need in order to spread out to 1,800 locations. I think chasing pennies or chasing transactions, that wouldn't lead us to that same goal.
Okay. You talked a little bit about, community and connection, which is very important, right? And understanding who your audience is, how they engage with you, what their expectations of you are. How has the growth of social media impacted this space, and how does Insomnia Cookies, leverage social and other digital marketing channels to, grow and engage your customer base?
Yeah, so social media is like a huge force within our industry, and I think in many industries, right? It's, I think, become the predominant type of media that people consume on a regular basis. And it's a little bit scary for brands because it's not necessarily the type of media that you're in control of, right? Social media can sort of spin off on its own. But for us, what's been great to see is that it's also created an opportunity for our Insomniacs to rally around our brand on social media. And so what you'll see, people will post videos of reviewing our product or reviewing a competitor's product, and you go into the comments and you just see, the members of our Insomniac community popping up and being like, "Oh, Insomnia Cookies, I love those guys. Please come to my town. Oh, I used to go to college. I would love to have one near where I live now." When we post content on social media, people are able to sort of jump in and they tag family members or friends, and they go, "Oh, we got to try out this new flavor," or, "Oh my God, they opened up a new location near us. Let's go together." And so we're able to sort of see how people are using that social media content, whether we've created it or not, to connect with each other, to share with each other, to plan with each other, and to sort of create these moments where they sort of bring our brand in. And we're very privileged to be able to sit at that point where people come and they seek us out to have a great time and to have a sweet moment.
Okay. Excellent. Last year, Tom Carsano, he talked about how Insomnia Rewards was redesigned to bridge the gap between e-commerce, should I say, and in-commerce, in-store customers. From your digital perspective, and since you're in charge of the technology platforms, what were some of the bigger challenges or opportunities, or even breakthroughs that you went through in kind of unifying these channels in your role?
Yeah, so when I first joined Insomnia, I I spent a lot of time talking to people about my belief that technology is really a tool that's meant to connect people. That's one of its most powerful uses, right? And so deploying technology effectively to connect us with our customers, to connect our customers with each other, to connect our support center with our employees that are out there at our 350 locations. That's where the power of our technology lies. But as we were sort of deploying our technology and sort of all of that consumer facing digital products, we kept hitting this blocker because we knew we had this view of customers that were using our app or ordering off of our website, and we knew that they were going into our stores to buy our cookies and to try out our ice cream, but we would just lose sight of them there. We didn't know when they were going, we didn't know what they were buying, we didn't know any of the things that they were sort of doing there. And so as we were trying to form this connection with our customers and to try to serve them in the best way that we possibly could, we were sort of doing it with only seeing half of the picture. And so for that, we started to say, okay, as we redesign our loyalty program, what could we do in order to create a platform that helps us engage our community of Insomniacs across all of our channels? And so for us, it was very important to have this loyalty program sort of have a presence both in our stores and online and in our app. And we're now able to sort of build these experiences that sort of span that divide between the digital world and sort of the brick and mortar world. So as an example, a couple of weeks ago, we had our annual PJ Party event. So PJ Party is this great event that we have. It's almost like a grand opening party at every single one of our locations. We do it every September as a way to sort of welcome students back into the fold.
Right.
Students come out dressed head to toe in pajamas. There are giveaways, there are games, there's balloons and balls and all these things. And of course, there's great warm cookies. And delicious ice cream. And so we sort of created this experience that if you were signed up for our loyalty program, there would be something that you'd be able to sort of click into, bring it into the store, and it would unlock these other experiences and these other rewards within the store itself. And so that night, we were able to sort of see like through our digital properties and through what was going on in our brick and mortar, almost see the entire Insomniac community pulsate. And then it went on to social media, and then it got shared. And so for me, that was this like perfect moment where that vision of that in-person experiences and the digital experiences sort of like coming together and magnifying itself and helping that sort of connection and the strength of that community really sort of came into full picture.
That's awesome. Well, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened at a PJ party? Is any story you can tell us?
Well, unfortunately, I'm often at the center of some of the craziest things that happen because I love PJ Party. I spent this past PJ Party. I was in Florida for a restaurant technology conference.
Okay.
Um, and it was in Orlando. I ended up driving out to Tampa, hitting a bunch of our locations there, then driving back to Orlando. And as sort of I love to do, I love having a great time with our customers. And so there were games and cookie eating contests, and I was giving out shots of chocolate milk. And, it was sort of an awesome moment in our temple, Temple University in Philadelphia. We had a social media personality come out, and there was a break dancing competition. I mean, PJ Party is always a blast. It's always a great time, and it really embodies who we are as a brand.
Okay. Yeah, the new Insomnia Rewards program is great. Yeah, it's seen great success since May of 2024 when I think you launched it. I think you have 1.2 million signups, 550,000 customers have redeemed rewards. What does this tell you about your customers, your program, and how they're engaging with the brand?
Yeah, so it's sort of like what I said before, right? For our brand, when we see success like this, it means that we're sort of accomplishing what we've been trying to do. We don't aspire to just sell our customers products, right? We don't aspire to just have a transactional relationship that sort of dissipates the second they walk out the door. What we're trying to do is to help our customers have these great experiences and great moments that they'll remember for always when they spend time with friends and family members or colleagues. We want to help people connect and have these sort of sweet moments. And so for us, the success of our rewards program, it means that what we're doing is we're helping our customers have more and more of those moments, and that's resonating with them in a powerful and emotional way. And the success of the program reflects the success of what sort of our goal was there, and our ability to execute on it.
Okay. You've talked about a couple times just the choice and opportunity for brands, should I say, for customers to engage in the Insomnia Rewards program. You're giving customers more choice, from earning and redeeming anywhere to some of the things you talked about at PJ Party. How did customer feedback, or how are you listening to customers, or behavioral data, help change the focus of the program, the openness of the program, the direction of the program?
Yeah, so back before we sort of relaunched this program about a year and a half ago, we had like a very, very standard, very straightforward rewards program. The very basic, like you spend X amount, you get X amount back type of thing. And so we started a conversation with our customers there about what they really wanted and what would be an engaging experience and a meaningful experience for them. And we haven't stopped since then in seeking out feedback from our customers and understanding, where, what they want now and how that's sort of evolving and changing over time. And one of the main things that we learned is that our customers, number one, wanted the chance to rack up points for what they were doing. And then they wanted to use those points in fun and different ways. And so based upon that feedback, very soon we're going to be launching a new feature for our rewards program. It's called Cookied. And so the way that it works is that every month a customer will sort of get like a credit for a free cookie that they can send to anyone in their life. And where, there'll be sort of prompts to say, oh, this is for a thank you, or this is for congratulations, or this is for sort of a happy birthday. And the idea of it is to sort of use the power of that, that single cookie as a token for someone to say, a quick thanks for helping me move last week, or hey, I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you, and I know we haven't seen each other in a while, but here's a cookie on me. And so we think that's a very cool way for our Insomniacs to connect with each other and to sort of bring sort of a little bit more warmth into their lives. And that's the type of things where when I talk about moving away from a purely transactional type of program, it's things like this where this isn't even sort of a revenue driver for us, but it is something that, again, for us, helps strengthen our community and strengthen the bonds between the members of that community.
Absolutely. When you look at the new program, we talked about it a little bit, and we mentioned before the in-store and the online experience, kind of combining them. What motivated that shift, and how does it kind of support this broader effort of customer choice, of customer engagement, of customer loyalty?
So we always aspire to meet our customers where they are, right? We don't want to force our customers to interact with us in a way that works best for us. We want our customers to sort of engage with us and interact with us in wherever it is that they are. And so if it's easy for them to sort of stop by on their way out of class in one of our stores, or if it's easier for them to, get back to their home and order us, late night and have us show up at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that's very, very meaningful for us to say, hey, we're here to serve you. We're here to meet you where you are. And so for us, before we had a loyalty program that was very sort of focused and concentrated on those online digital experiences and not so much in the in-store experience, it felt like we were sending the message to our customers of, oh, if you want to sort of engage with us in this way, right, and you want to rack up these loyalty points, or you want to spend these loyalty points, we need you to do it only over here, right? Only this door is open for you. We felt like that sent the wrong message to our customers, right? That there was, sort of an unevenness in what they could expect from us in our digital presence and what they can expect from us in our brick and mortar. And so we didn't feel like that was a message that really reflected who we are as a brand or how we wanted to present ourselves to our Insomniac community. And so for us, when we built out this new loyalty platform, it was important for us to say, hey, no matter where you are and no matter how you're interacting with our brand, we want this experience to be the same. We want it to feel connected. We want it to feel seamless, right? We don't want you to feel that friction in any meaningful way. And so that's how we sort of designed it and executed on it.
Okay. Gen Z and young adults, I would think still kind of the heart of the Insomnia fan base, this younger generation. When you look at them, how are you tailoring your digital strategies, digital efforts to meet the expectations of this always connected, always on generation?
I think we really tried to have fun with it. And I know that that's probably something that, maybe a lot of brands say. But fun is a core element of who we are at Insomnia, right? I always think about, a lot of the time I've spent in bakery, especially late at nights, and people are coming into the bakery already on a high. They've already had a great night out. They've already had a great night with their friends, and we're sort of like that nightcap on that, on that great evening. And for us, it's about taking that momentum and really sort of building it up. And so as a brand, again, we don't want this to be a transactional thing. We don't want you to sort of walk into a store and be like, oh yeah, oh, I have these points and I was coming in for a cookie, but okay, fine. So like instead of taking out my credit card, I'll just scan my barcode and I'll get that cookie for free.
Right,
We
right.
want to keep that fun going. And so, as an example of that, we created a challenge this past summer. It was our ice cream challenge. And so the more of our ice cream products that you went and tried, the more sort of chances you earned in order to win a whole bunch of, awesome prizes. And, what we were trying to do with something like that is for us, ice cream is like the key to great moments in the summer, right? There's
Right,
that
right.
big amplifier. You had a great day with the family or a great day with the friends, and you're like, oh, you know what would hit the spot right now? Some ice cream. It's hot outside. Ice cream is the best. And so we wanted to weave that into the experiences that our customers were having and sort of up the fun with that and make it a game and make it a challenge and open up the opportunity for something more than just a free scoop or a free cone or something like that. And so, that's how we really try to do it. And I think that really resonates with our younger demographic who are looking for things that, again, go sort of beyond the transactional nature and really speak to them on a more emotional and a deeper emotional level.
Well, what are the top one or two flavors of ice cream?
So I think one of our biggest ones is we call it Cookies and Dream. It's
Yeah.
it's our cookies and cream variety, but late night brand Dream. And then we have a salted caramel, which is absolutely fantastic. The great thing about our ice cream is called Insomnia Cookies. It's cookies in ice cream. So almost all of the flavors have little chunks of our cookies actually sort of weaved into the cookie itself into the ice cream itself. And so you get that sort of mix of flavors and textures with every single bite. It's really fantastic. As an ice cream fanatic myself, I deeply enjoy our ice cream.
That's awesome. I know you have been expanding internationally, and that can be challenging at best. I know you have locations in the UK and Canada, and I think you have more on the horizon. What goes into what considerations go into scaling a loyalty program digitally across these different markets? With different customer expectations, different rules and regulations throughout the EU, having to have kind of stand up a different entity potentially in each location. How do you look at managing internationally?
Yeah, so the first thing is like what you said, your first thought goes to sort of the regulatory environment in each country or even province where you operate. As an example, Quebec is very, very different than Ontario.
Yep.
Um, and so you start to sort of harp on those things around the rules like data privacy and where you're storing data and how you're masking personally identifiable information, about email rules and text communication rules. And so you sort of, very, very focused on that and compliance to that. But what you also realize is that each market there are different expectations about how brands behave. There's different expectations from the customers on how they want to engage with brands and how they want to connect with brands. And so when you build out a loyalty platform, what you're trying to do is you're trying to leave it to be flexible and powerful enough that the local teams are then able to craft specific experiences that speak, directly to the customers within that market. So, as an example, in our UK market, um, brands are a little bit more forward about how they push the envelope, and sort of they're a little bit more crazy, and from a US perspective, and how they craft these experiences. Our UK team wanted to create an experience where if you got a Insomnia tattoo, then you would have free cookies for life. And so there's that's definitely outside the wheelhouse of our business here in the US, but we wanted still to allow our loyalty program to enable something like that, right? Where that person, when they take that sort of ultimate step in declaring themselves a lifelong insomniac, we're able to reciprocate and make sure that they get the experience within store and online that they deserve for that level of commitment. And so, that's what you're trying to do, and then you're trying to empower those local teams to really do what they need to do in order to build the community that's specific to that location.
Yeah, I think that's you're not being ethnocentric in that regard, right? You're giving them some technology, giving them some processes that work, but allowing them to kind of, contour the program to the uniqueness of their audiences, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the name of the game here, right? Everything in this world moves so fast, and things that are engaging today are going to be boring and out of style tomorrow, right? And so if you build a platform like this to fill only a specific need and to only function in one way, then you're going to have to tear it down and rebuild it very, very quickly. And you're constantly going to be almost behind that level of change. And so instead, the way that we tried to build this was, let's make this sort of flexible enough and dynamic enough that as things shift, we'll already have those foundational pieces in place to allow us to sort of shift with it.
Okay, perfect. When you look at what's next, are there some things that you're working on with regard to personalization, gamification, app experience, and digital efforts that you're excited about the potential for Insomnia Cookies?
Yeah, so I mentioned our cookied feature before, which I think is just a great example of how we do something that another brand might say, "Hey, you get 100 points for referring a friend," or something like that. For us, this was a very uniquely Insomnia way to approach how we build and connect our Insomnia community. I think you'll see more challenges like we did with our ice cream challenge, right? That level of sort of gamification. But I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is, I think there's going to be a transformational leap that we're going to be able to pull off as far as personalization goes. I think we spoke a little bit about AI before. One of the great things, or sort of the unlocks that I'm anticipating from AI, is its ability to sort of break the bottleneck of what I would call sort of like human capacity, right? So if we had a very we have a very robust and talented marketing team, and still, as they try to tailor Insomnia experiences for our customers, they're talking about segments, a half dozen segments of our customers, or maybe even a dozen that we can sort of get up to. AI is an unlock for that, because AI can say, "Hey, I can create 100 different segments. I can create 200 different segments, and I can personalize the way that Insomnia presents itself for each individual customer, and start to have a very personalized conversation, or a one-to-one conversation with that
Yep.
customer." So we're sort of working on our rewards program to enable that level of sort of custom experience, and we think that that'll help drive a much higher level of connection and engagement, and virality to everything that we do via that program.
That's awesome. And you look at the program holistically, what are two or three things that you're most proud of?
Um, I think for me, I'm a very process-oriented person. And so the thing that I'm most proud of is the process that we've used and that we continue to use to sort of design and execute on this program, right? The idea that from the start, We wanted this to be something that was based off the obsession that we have about our customers, and about our Insomniac community. We didn't want this to be something that served us as as a business. We wanted this to be something that really resonated with our Insomniac community and served them. And we wanted this to be a manifestation of who we are as a brand. And so the idea that it's something that's fun, that ties together sort of the digital and and sort of the in-store experiences, the ability to sort of build these experiences that sort of take off and allow our customers to sort of connect and build more and more relationships. That to me is sort of the thing that I'm most proud of, and I feel sort of most validated that our process in building this was the right process and the right approach.
That's awesome. And what can Loyalty 360 do to help you and your team with your customer loyalty efforts?
So I sort of mentioned before that one of the things that I do in the middle of the night and during some of my downtime is try to sort of read these trends and see what's going on out there in other industries with other businesses, and themes that sort of are emerging. And so for me, Loyalty 360 and what you do is sort of disseminating and publicizing what brands are doing that's interesting and creative and innovative. That's really a great resource for us to sort of keep up with what's going on out there, what's sort of emerging, what are sort of new or interesting ways of looking at things, and just watching those other companies execute on it.
Okay, excellent. And now we have our wonderful quick fire round of questions. We like to keep these to one word or a short phrase. And we'll start off with, what's your favorite word?
I get made fun of a lot for this, but my favorite word is dynamic, and I use it too much, so I've tried to sort of stop on it. But what it means for me is that ability to read and react what's going on around you, and then to sort of change your approach based upon that. And so, dynamic.
What's your least favorite word?
Bureaucracy. It's
Uh,
the word itself even feels ugly and nasty to me. I mean, I know that it has a function and a role in the world that we live in, but to me, it implies this lack of connection and this lack of warmth that's just really dissonant to me at my core.
okay. What excites you?
I think we touched on this a little bit before, but there's really nothing for me that's nothing can match watching a big game with a lot of very, very dedicated and invested people, whether you're in the stadium in that moment or you're at a watch party. There's a raw power of like connection and like sort of communal jubilation that happens in those moments that just even like the thought of it possibly happening sometime soon really gets me going.
Okay, that's awesome. And what do you find tiresome?
I think a day that doesn't have anything that challenges me or pushes me. I've had days where I'm very, very busy, where my mind at the end of the day feels like chewed up bubble gum. And while I'm very tired at an end of the day like that, I still have like a level of energy that comes with having had such a fun and interesting day. A bland day or sort of a routine day, there's like a much deeper fatigue that I feel at the end of that.
That makes perfect sense. Is there a book that you've read that you like to recommend to colleagues?
Um, I'm not a big book recommender because I really feel like, it's people have very different tastes in books, and it's very hard to get a good read on somebody and understand what kind of books they like. But I would say the one that I sort of mention the most to colleagues is the Steve Jobs biography by Walter Isaacson.
Yeah, okay.
I think that uh, Isaacson does such a great job of bringing across the point that if you are true to the person that you are, and you're true to that person both in your personal life and in your professional life, that is what sort of drives the most authentic manifestation of what you are. It's not possible to sort of be a high performer or a high achiever if you try to say, hey, I'm one person at home and I'm one person in work. You have to be who you are to the fullest all the time. And I think that sort of really comes across within that biography.
That's awesome. Read it. It's a great book for sure. Is there a profession other than the one you were currently in that you may like to attempt?
I love this question because I think about this all the time. And in fact, like I would love to just do a full year of doing a week of different jobs because I love learning and solving new problems. But if I had to say, there was a more specific thing that I'd be interested in, it's really anything around designing buildings or spaces, whether it's architecture or interior design or anything like that. I think it's sort of the ultimate puzzle to create a space where people flourish, and are successful. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Are there things that you enjoy that you maybe don't get as much time to do as you may have in the past?
I would say traveling on my own terms. So, I'm married and I have children, and when I travel for work, obviously I'm there and I have a million things that I want to try to do for the business. And then when I travel with my family, I'm trying to make sure that everyone's having a great time and getting what the most that they can out of the experience. And then like sometimes I'll get like an afternoon to really go and do something that like I want to do. I'd love to have more experiences like that. I love being out there in the world and learning from people and seeing new things and experiencing new things. And so that's probably the thing that I love that I don't get to do enough.
Who inspired you to become the person you are today?
That's a really tough question because I spent so much time especially when I was younger, just trying to see who people are and what they're doing and which of those things sort of resonate with me, and trying to, I think, craft a life that's unique for myself, that I would find rewarding and that I would find enjoyable. But I
Yep.
think that idea of being able to sort of imagine any life for myself is something that I really took from my father. My father came to the US from Egypt when he was 12 years old. He came here without his parents, into a new place and with not knowing the language and all those things, and he was able to imagine a life for himself that I think like was probably a huge leap for this 12-year-old kid that was sort of coming to this new country on his own. And so that sort of ability and that courage and that sort of bravery to be able to imagine and then create that world, that life for yourself, is something that I'm inspired by all the time.
That's awesome. And what do you typically think about at the end of the day?
This is probably a boring answer, but I think about what I need to do tomorrow and how I want to make, tomorrow the best possible day, given, whatever it is that I have on my schedule.
Okay. And how do you want to be remembered by your friends and family?
I'd probably just settle for being remembered in any way. I think, for me, what I always try to do, is I try to show people how much I care about them and how invested I am in them through, acts of service. I want to show them that I'll do anything for them and that they can always sort of count on me. So I hope that they remember that. I hope that they remember that I care deeply about them and that I was always there for them.
David, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. It was a pleasure getting to meet you and getting an update on Insomnia Cookies customer loyalty program and the unique and differentiated things you're doing with technology. It's always great to hear someone with the passion and focus that you have.
Thanks so much, Mark. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely. And it definitely seems like you and Tom are building quite the brand powerhouse, with a solid product, a focus on the customer. It's not surprising you continue to build community and connections with your customers through your laser-focused customer loyalty program. And thank you everyone else for taking the time to join us today. Make sure you check back every Thursday for our Industry Voices podcast. You can subscribe, or we would love to have you subscribe to the Leaders in Customer Loyalty podcast, and follow Loyalty360 on YouTube and LinkedIn. We made it easy for you with the links below. And until next Thursday, have a wonderful day. Thanks everyone.